One question from a comment went like this: isn't it true the Sphinx is African? Many responses of denial were posted thereon. I think it is, but I am not sure we will ever know for sure whether the Sphinx depicts an African. That's one answer that we got. The other one went like this: the thing to keep in mind is that Africa is the most diverse continent as far as human anatomy is concerned. There is no such thing as a typical African face. The question comes to you down: which face is this? African or not African? Let's deal with this topic: why Europe is denying its African roots. Is there proof that a huge chunk of European culture came from African culture and tradition? If this is true, what are the reasons, or what is the reason we have persistent rebuff by Europeans about this fact? Is this fact based on a true fact or not? Or there is a serious issue that we are not aware of that is floating underneath the current academic denial of such a fact? Let's start with the two things first: the names. The city of Paris is named after an African woman. We can prove it. It has been proved. It's known. Even the name Europe itself is based on an African woman. This is known, is proved. Scholars know it. European scholars are the ones that proved it beyond reasonable doubt. Welcome to Paris. You can see this is the pillar of Pindae, which is the pillar similar to ancient Egypt. The whole city of Paris, the capital city of France, is named after the goddess Isis. Paris is Isis, groove of Isis. The noun Paris was originally Parisis or Perisis or Parise, the name of the temple of the goddess Isis. This is clear. Scholars know it. They cannot deny it. You can go to this Facebook page that we are indicating here, a temple to Isis, the Gallic narrative in honor of the cult of Isis, which gave the name Paris. This is the temple, the ancient images of that temple in Paris, after of which the city Paris was named by Europeans, honor, to worship and to love this African black goddess. And so there are so many Madonnas or black Madonnas all over Europe of this. So that's proof that the culture, the so-called Christian or Judaic culture, even Islamic culture, came from African traditions in Europe by Europeans. They're changing now because of Darwinism and many other movements. In 1798, Napoleon Bonaparte launched an expedition of 35,000 soldiers to conquer Egypt. The campaign revealed the splendor of a mysterious and forgotten civilization. For Napoleon's ships also carried scholars, scientists, and artists whose task it was to study the country and its customs and document their findings. This was done, therefore that's so clear. There we are. Let's look again at Europe. Europe comes from Europa, an African woman. Europa means red. Euro means Europa. That's straight African or Bantu word. You can also visit this website, Goddess-Know Thyself Blogspot, where it clearly demonstrates in detail how this is so. And you can also visit and watch this YouTube that we are indicating that proves that Europe, the name Europe, came from an African goddess. There is the image that dominated in Europe, and that has been replaced quite recently, maybe in the last 400 or 500 years. This image of the Black Madonna is found in Essendon, Switzerland. The blackness is said by scholars who want to deny this fact to come from candle smoke. Apparently, this candle smoke is so clever, it can only change the face of the two and the arms or hands. Why doesn't this change everything? Because this is a lie. There is Europa there, because most Europeans trace themselves from Greece. This is the goddess Europa from Greece, 500 years before Common Era. There it is, proof, modern proof, evidence. The bronze statue of the Greek god Apollo, hooked in the Mediterranean Sea by a young Gaza fisherman near the Gaza-Egyptian border. The statue was seized by Hamas police and has vanished from public view. You can study, go to the website that we have given. This is ancient African that we see here. Denying African existence. The trend today is to deny even the African culture itself, or even the Africans. Why? Because of the few leaders found in the world today, dominated by Europeans, conditioned to accept narratives that deny what their eyes see. That's a scholastic movement. Someone was bombing me with DNA evidence. I don't need DNA evidence to see that this is a black woman, which is a sphinx. I don't need DNA to even see that there are people there. There's a ladder there. DNA doesn't work there here. It works maybe in other areas, but here where there is an icon, an image, it does not work. European culture now tries very hard to deny its African roots. This is purely based on racism. It is engineered by few jealous and greedy individual families who used evil from their hearts to colonize and enslave black people. The African leaders today are fast asleep on the steering wheel, thinking that they are members of the United Nations and therefore things are working okay. They are not. All the arguments that try to deny that Africans founded Egypt, Europe, Asia, America fall flat on the image of this Sphinx, Hore Makuti. Look at it carefully. Can you answer this question? What race do you see there? It's quite clear, straightforward. The nose was knocked off. The lips are thick. This is an African woman. Of course, the debate with many others is that it's a man and so forth. The Sphinx is the seen first by the French scientific expedition or mission that we spoke of in the 19th century. This profile is neither Greek nor Semitic. It is Bantu. This is a Muntu. This is a Bantu. Its model is said to have been Pharaoh Kafireni, but it's not. It's ancient. It's almost 1,000,000 or 800,000 years ago. Russian scientists have proved it. It's found also built in a place with an African name, Giza. You know Gaza land in Zimbabwe. You know Gaza in South Africa. You know Gaza in ancient Egypt. You know Gaza in Palestine. It's one name of a place, Gaza or Gaza or Geza. Anytime, anything that you want to say. This is the image. Let us ask, what race do you see there? Purely African. There it is, the difference. You see, that's a European, and there is the Sphinx or Hore Makuti. When it was found in the 17th century by the French expedition, hidden in sand, and there is the head. The question is, some people deny that this was done by Africans. Who would have put such a magnificent structure with cosmic imperatives, as well as the black face with like this, if he was not representing or if she was not representing their own race? There again is how it happened some 300 years ago. You can see there the Sphinx, the artist who drew it, and there is again the image of the Sphinx and the structures and the pyramids. So Europeans deny that Africans did this. Millions today deny it's African, but you can see it's African. So when they deny it, they just are doing it so that when they bring the DNA and other explanations, people have already planted the seeds of denial. This is the proof that ancient Egypt, ancient Ethiopia, ancient Sudan, ancient civilizations found on the earth were discovered by people who looked like this. Africans, black people. The totem of these people is lion, straightforward, or Leo, because when they trace this and look at this and you do archaeoastronomy, you find that it squares off with the star system called Leo. What we see of the Sphinx of Giza or Gaza is an African. And you can see a person there standing there. And you can see the ears there and the damages that have been done across centuries. This is what Vivant Dinon saw in 1798. You be the judge. Is this a European? No. Is this Asian? No. Is this current Arab? No. So those people are lying that say anything else. In conclusion, let's conclude this. The fantastic conclusion, a very shocking conclusion. The conclusion is clear, but let's show you a drastic truth that has been hidden from us for years. Alexander the Greek was a mulatto. There is the proof, image proof. This is the coin, the silver datagram of Alexander the Greek, 324 before Common Era. The only image of Alexander the Greek to survive from his lifetime. He is not purely a European. He was a mulatto. Strictly. That's why he was able to go and speak to the oracle at Siwa. Otherwise, he would not have gone there without doing a lot of stuff. This is said to be the marble portrait of Alexander the Greek, housed in British Museum today. It is of a known artist and period. That gives you some clues, whereas this gives you the proof. This gives you an opinion. Though not of his lifetimes, it is said to come from Alexandria. Egypt, because this bust bears absolutely no resemblance to the authentic image of the coin. It is a fanciful, idealized image of Alexander the Greek. So the image of Alexander that you have been taught to know is false. This is false. Alexander the Greek was a mulatto. There is his coin, 324 BCE, and many of the images like this are just impositions and imposters, fakes. Don't follow that. You can study more on real history, www.com, world history, ancient Minoan Greece. I'm giving the website there. It's clear, the evidence stands in our faces. African wealth, African culture, and African technology. These are the only elements that forms the bedrock of modern Europe and modern civilization. To accept this means to put back the African on his throne. And definitely, we were not pulled back softly and nicely, but violently. They were looted by the Persians first, then the Greeks, and then the Romans, and today by the white Arabs. The value of the loot is fearful. It cannot be calculated. It is the cost of this civilization of the last 2,000 or so years. Thus, to form what is obviously a fake classical Greek culture, so that they can have a springboard for a fundamental ploy to deny this is the only route they are using today, whose core is also racial guilt. The next stage is to decimate black people and remove them from the earth completely and totally. And this is where everything is going, unless if rise up and we wake up. This is why Europe denies its African roots, because to accept it, it is to accept everything that Europe has achieved today. It is the hour for the earth-wide unity of the originators of this civilization. Time to be one. There's no time for us to divide, to fight amongst ourselves. Let's give more evidence. People, for even amongst Europeans, there's still other black people today as we speak. Of course, we have already demonstrated how you know them. This is the image that is problematic and has never been shown in Europe. A king who looks like this, and a servant who looks like that, and soldiers, a mulatto. This is the status quo that was in Europe. That has been changed and is continuously being changed. Edith of England and Otto I of Holy Roman Empire married in 929 AD. Look at the images. Look at them. They are Africans. Straightforward, no question marks. Thank you very much. This is Priest Rabbi Ellen Dumislu of Committee Hebrew Ethics. Subscribe to our channel and let us walk this journey together. This is our email. The door for the truth is about to be shut and darkness to come in. Let us smell the flowers of the truth and walk as our ancestors did. Thank you. Goodbye.